Battle of Nuremberg, 1945. The Battle of Nuremberg was a 5-day battle between the forces of the United States 7th Army on one side, and Nazi Germany and Russian Liberation Army volunteers on the other during World War II. The battle saw some of the fiercest urban combat during the war, and it took 4 days for the United States to capture the city. The battle was a blow to Nazi Germany as Nuremberg was a center of the Nazi regime. Many rallies took place in the city, and to lose the city to the Americans took a heavy toll on already low German morale. Even though American forces heavily outnumbered the German forces, it wasn't until April 20 that the 7th Army took the city center. The battle devastated the city. The United States, United Kingdom, France, and Canada jointly invaded Germany from the west on February 8, 1945. The German army took heavy losses as the Allied armies crossed the Rhine and surrounded the Ruhr area as the Soviet and Polish armies pushed from the east. By April, the US and Soviet armies were closing in on each other, constricting an already narrow gap of German-controlled territory running from Berlin to Munich and including Nuremberg. As the 12th Army Group continued to push east towards Berlin, the 6th Army Group received orders to push into southern Germany and into Austria. Despite the heavier resistance from the German army in the south as compared to the north, the US 7th Army broke out of its bridgehead on the Rhine south of Frankfurt on March 28. After fierce fighting, the 7th Army captured Aschaffenburg in Bavaria on April 3 and Heilbronn in Württemberg on April 12, which left Nuremberg wide open to American attack. On April 12, the German High Command ordered the unconditional defense of all cities, and Hitler placed Reich Defense Commissioner and Gauleiter of Franconia Karl Holtz in charge of the German army around Nuremberg. On April 15, the 7th Army advanced towards Nuremberg, rapidly capturing Bamberg in the process. As the 7th Army neared Nuremberg, Holtz ordered setting up anti-tank barriers as well as anti-aircraft guns around the old city. Holtz's forces were heavily outnumbered, but he still believed that the Americans would break sooner or later. By April 16, the 7th Army had begun its assault on Nuremberg not from the west as Holtz expected, but from the east and northeast. By the end of the day, the Americans had captured the outskirts of Erlenstegen and Buch. Arthur Skodert, a constable of anti-aircraft artillery, failed to execute Hitler's orders to blow up electricity, gas, and water plants in the city. By April 17, the 7th Army captured the marshalling yard and the surrounding area as well as the Weilhofstrasse and Wohrode neighborhoods. By evening, the airport to the north was captured and U.S. artillery began to shell the old city. American troops met fierce resistance around the old city on April 18, which destroyed and damaged many buildings around the old city, including the historic city castle. On April 18, as American artillery continued to shell the old city, U.S. troops reached the old city via the Bergschmiedstrasse. On April 20, the 3rd Infantry Division under the command of Major General John W. O'Daniel and the 45th Infantry Division under Major General Robert T. Frederick laid siege to the old city. German resistance was so great that American heavy artillery and air support was deployed. Holtz ordered his men to continue to fight. Holtz himself was trapped in the police station in the old city, but continued to resist. After American troops gave him 4 chances for a peaceful surrender, he was killed while American troops overran the building. After Holtz's death, second-in-command Colonel Wolfe realized that the city could no longer be held. At 11 o'clock he ordered all German troops in the area to surrender. On the evening of April 20, the American flag was hoisted at Adolf Hitler Platz, formally ending the battle.